Hello, this is Left Turn Productions, and welcome to Omaha qualifying for the LTPSS and the biggest race of the year, the Omaha 500. So I've got three lines of cars here. The first one is the LTPSS cars. They will go first. They will qualify for their race. It's pretty simple. It's just deciding first through 26th. And then we've got the second row is the open cars in the Omaha 500. The top three fastest in this group will get locked in. They will lock in a starting spot in the Omaha 500 before the duels. And then these 30 guys right here are already locked in. The two fastest of these guys are going to be starting on the front row. So it goes bottom to top in order of when they're going to qualify. And I'm going to see how many of these I can record. So yeah, let's get into it. I also forgot to mention one thing. There is a new mechanic this year in qualifying where laps where the driver rolls over will not be counted. And if they roll over 3 times in a row, they're out. They don't get to post a qualifying lap. That's what happened to LJ Toledo at Sunoco Speedway. And that's why he started in the back. He crashed out of qualifying. So yeah, now let's actually get it started. Alright, so D. Pepper will be the first driver to qualify here. And again, he does get 3 attempts in case he crashes out. So let's see where he will end up. And he did crash out here. Second attempt for D. Pepper. Let's see if he can try and get a time in here. And, okay, that did not go well either. Okay, last attempt for D. Pepper. So usually what happens in this situation is the driver is going to try and run a little bit slower this third attempt just so they can get a time in. And that's exactly what D. Pepper will do. He will be the first qualifier here. Thankfully avoided a crash out. So let's see what will happen next. Okay, Jeff Toledo is the next driver up here in the number 1 car. By the way, this qualifying order is the inverse of the previous LTPSS race's finishing order. So yeah, let's see if Jeff Toledo can put up a better lap than D. Pepper. And he will be able to, and he gets it first try, and he's a lot faster than D. Pepper was. So yeah, Jeff Toledo now going to the pole position. Alright, Caleb Rose for 5395 Racing is going to be the next driver up. And he's going to try and beat the 1 car of Jeff Toledo, and he's going to crash out. Second attempt for Caleb Rose this time. And he puts in a really fast lap time. Caleb Rose to the top. Come check out just how far ahead he is of the 1 car. That is one of the fastest laps we have seen, even in the mock qualifying sessions. So Caleb Rose, good job for him. Next up is the driver with the most wins on this channel, Caleb Campbell. So we'll see what kind of qualifying time he has. What kind of speed does he have in this number 46 car? Enough for second place. So not going to get the pole, but he might get a decent starting spot here. Definitely better than the last race. He was at least close to Caleb Rose there. So yeah, Caleb and Caleb on the front row as of now. Next up is the 19 of Jacob Hersner, the first of 2 JGR cars in the LTPSS cars. So I'm thinking of maybe splitting this qualifying session into 3 parts so that I can get all the qualifying sessions in, or all the qualifying laps in. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing as Jacob Hersner takes his lap, and he is 3rd quickest. Next up is the Stewart-Haas Racing entry here, the number 41 of James Johnson. He had a good first race, but has been on a bit of a skid since. He's still in the top 10 in points, though, so let's see what kind of speed that 41 car has. And I believe he's 2nd fastest, if I go and check that here real quick. Yes, he's just barely ahead of Caleb Campbell, so he will be moved up to 2nd fastest. Not quite as fast as Caleb Rose yet, though. So yeah. Alright, the next driver we have up is one of the 2 Roush cars, Jake Hoover, in the number 17. the York Cup Series Season 3 sponsored account champion when he was the sponsored account of Kyle Busch, and that's not a very good qualifying run for Jake Hoover. Now, this does not count as a crash out since he did not roll the car, but he will be second slowest out of those who have qualified. Okay, I think James Edwards is the next one up to qualify, the other 5395 racing car. James Edwards, disappointing run at Sunoco. He led every lap until he crashed out, but he did get a win as a sponsored account in the most recent race on my channel, the BMRN LTP Pro Series race at Hooverville, when he was the sponsored account of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and that's going to be a crash out for James Edwards. Attempt number 2 for the 5 car, who started on the front row in that Sunoco race and took the lead on the first lap. And he's up and over again. That's not good for him. Last attempt for James Edwards, and we assume that he'll just kind of settle for a slower time in order to avoid a crash out here, and that's exactly what he does. He slides in behind the 1 car of Jeff Toledo. He is the second slowest, so an unfortunate qualifying run here for James Edwards. Next up is the other Roush car, the 6th car of Riley Neiman. He's got a bit of a bone to pick with another driver in the field, Scarlett Rose, who it'll be a while before we get to her lap. But let's see what Riley Neiman can do in that 6th car. Do you think he'll be faster than his teammate? He will not. He's second slowest. Just in behind the 5 car of James Edwards. Not much speed in the Roush cars here in this race. Okay, next driver up is the other SHR car, the 14 of Hope Wilmington, who got spun on the last lap at Sunoco. Will Hope Wilmington be able to get up there, maybe with her teammate James Johnson, and maybe get the pole from Caleb Rose? And she actually got into the back of her teammate. So the 41 will be moved back to his original position, but Hope Wilmington is 4th quickest. I feel like she could have maybe taken the 3rd spot away from Caleb Campbell if she hadn't run into her teammate there. Alright, next car up is the 34 of Trey Wright. Both of the front row cars are going to go back to back in this qualifying session, since they finished right next to each other in the most recent race. Trey Wright, I think he's at the very bottom of the point standings right now, so he hasn't had that much of a good season, but he does have an okay lap, I guess. He's ahead of a few other drivers here. And, yeah, he's ahead of the 1 car, the 17, the 6, the 5, and the 47, so, not terrible for the 34 car. Yeah, not a terrible run for Trey Wright. Alright, and now we've got his teammate, Zachary DeLello, up next. He will be running in the number 38 car here in this race. And will he be able to beat his teammate? Nope, he's going to flip over. Second attempt for Zachary DeLello after crashing out in the first attempt. And this one will go a lot better, as I believe he's ahead of his teammate, maybe. Yes, he definitely did go faster than his teammate Trey. So yeah, not a bad run for both Front Row Motorsports cars. Next up is the 24 car of Game Player 88, the first Hendrick car. There you can see him. He also has not had much of a great season, but he had a solid run at Sunoco. So he's looking to be on the turnaround this season, and he has, well, a similar qualifying run to the last 2. I believe he's just slightly slower than both of them, though. Yes, he is. So, he'll be starting around this mid-pack range, it appears. Next up is the 78 of Sam Lester. He has not done that great in qualifying, but he's done okay in the races. Not the best. I think he had a pretty good run at Fresno. He crashed out early at Frankfurt, and he had a solid run at Sunoco. So let's see what kind of speed he has in the Pacific Racing number 78, and enough for him to be flipping over. Second attempt for Sam Lester in the 78 car. He's had a couple of hard crashes on this channel lately, but Fortunately, none of them have seemed to affect him as, speaking of hard crashes, that's what he's done yet again. Final attempt for Sam Lester, and we should expect a slow lap here just to avoid completely crashing out of this qualifying session. And that's exactly what's going to happen to him. Sam Lester, the first one to not be able to post a qualifying lap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put him on the sideline somewhere. I guess I'll put him up here. So yeah, Sam Lester will be starting in the back in the Omaha Yark Legends Series race. So next up is one of the two City Lights Petty Racing cars, the 43 of Ray Alton, who had some speed in that car in the Legends Series race. He just got caught up in an accident and wasn't able to make the most of it. Maybe he'll be able to do so here today, as he's going to crash into one of those sideline cars. And he's second slowest because of it. I'm just going to put him here on the other side of the 6 car so that he's out of the way more. So yeah, disappointing qualifying run for Ray Alton after qualifying inside the top 12 in the last race. Alright, so the next car up is the 18 of Cookie, who had his best career finish at Sunoco in 11th. Still looking for that first top 10 in that 18 car, I believe. Unless he had a better finish at Frankfurt. I don't remember where he finished in that race. I don't think he finished inside the top 10. But anyway, here is his first lap, and it'll be his only lap, as he will not crash out here. I believe this will be third slowest? Yeah, he'll be third slowest, so not quite up there with his teammate Herzner. As you can see, Herzner over there inside the top 5. Cookie's still trying to play catch-up with that team, it appears. Alright, next car up is the 48 of Brendan Creason, who got his first top 10 of the season at Sunoco. And that 48 has been kind of struggling for speed. All of Hendrick has, but we'll see if Brendan Creason can turn it around. And he has a pretty good qualifying lap right there. That might be enough to turn it around. I don't know. He's going to have to execute in the race. I believe this will make him third quickest out of those who have run, just ahead of Caleb Campbell. So yeah, good qualifying run for Brendan Creason, but Caleb Rose, man, it's going to be hard to beat him. He's held that pole position spot for almost this entire session. All right, next up is LJ Toledo. He got the win at Frankfurt, and he crashed out of the previous qualifying session. He was the only one to crash out in the entire series up until Sam Lester did it not too long ago. Let's see what LJ can do in this 42. Solid run for LJ Toledo. He barely missed hitting the 24 car, it looked like, but he might have a top 10 start as he's just behind Jacob Herzner here. All right, I'm still surprised that Caleb Rose still has the pole right now, but I think we've got 8 more cars to go to try and knock him off the pole position. The first of those being Scarlet Rose, as we're going to get both RCR cars in a row, much like we got both Front Row Motorsports cars in a row. Scarlet Rose, of course, didn't make Riley Neiman too happy in that Sunoco race, but she did end up getting a top 10. Continuing her solid run this season. And speaking of solid, she's got a solid qualifying run as well. Looks like she will start, or she will be, I think that is 6th fastest. Yes, it will be 6th fastest. Right in between Hope Wilmington and Jacob Herzner. All right, next up is Flammable Camaro in the number 8 car. He had a solid run, just like Scarlett did at Sunoco, although he did a little bit better than Scarlett did, in my opinion. And also kind of factually, since he did finish 1 spot higher. And that's not what's going to happen here in this qualifying session, as he's going to be behind Game Player 88 here. So yeah, he did not have a very good lap here. Especially compared to his teammate. So yeah, we've got, I think, 6 cars left to qualify. Can anyone knock Caleb Rose off the pole? Alright, next up is Grant Hoover. Caleb Campbell already went, so this is the last of the CCM cars in the LTPSS part of this qualifying session. So let's see what Grant can do in that 25. He's been aggressive this season. And can he be equally aggressive in qualifying? It was aggressive enough to have him do a barrel roll, if you saw that in the camera frame. So he's going to have to try again. Second attempt for Grant Hoover. He was the sponsor count of Matt Benedetto in his Collab Series Championship in season number 1 of that, and he's not going to have a very good qualifying run here. He's going to be right behind Flambeau Camaro and right ahead of Jeff Toledo. Down to your last 5 drivers here. Brian Ferris is going to be up next. He won the All-Star race this season. Can he back it up? He also won the pole at Sunoco. And yeah, can he back it up with a strong qualifying run here? Oh, we got into the side of Grant Hoover, and I feel like if he didn't do that, he might have had something for Caleb Rose. But he is second quickest, it appears. Yes, Brian Ferris, second quickest, but still not up there with Caleb Rose. That hit on the 25 car really messed up Brian Ferris's lap. All right, next up here is Brady Wilmington. 4 drivers left. In qualifying, Brady Wilmington, his teammate was not able to put in a time. Wilmington hopefully will be able to. And, ooh, that's a tough one to gauge. I don't think that one should count. I'm not entirely sure if he rolled over or not. But, we're going to have to look at the judges here for that one. So here we have up the replay of Brady Wilmington's time, and as you can see here, when we go and zoom in and we will observe the 62 car, we're looking for if it rolled over during that time. He's sliding sideways there and he jumps up into the air. That's definitely a rollover, so he's gonna have to have another chance in this qualifying run. Second attempt for Brady Wilmington after he almost was able to get that time in, but that wasn't a very good time. I think he was honestly hoping for a redo there. And let's see what Wilmington can do this time around, and he does put in a better time. I believe he will start, I think, right behind LJ Toledo here. So I think that means he's in the top 10. Yes, he barely is. He is 10th fastest. All right, we've only got 3 drivers left, and one of them here is Shane Wenzloff. Back in the York Legend Series, in this exact same car, he was very fast in qualifying. Took him a while to get a pole, but he did end up getting one. And he was fast in the Sunoco qualifying session as well, so maybe he might have something for Caleb Rose here. He is Ray Alton's teammate and partial team owner. Let's see what he can do. Ooh, that's close. Did he take the pole? I think he might have over Caleb Rose, and he did. Shane Wenzloff takes the top spot with only 2 drivers left to qualify. 2 drivers left after Shane Wenzloff just took the pole. Richard Herman in the number 37 for JTG Doherty Racing. His teammate was D. Pepper. He has the slowest completed time out of everybody because he crashed twice and didn't want to risk crashing out like Sam Lester did. So let's see if Herman can get the pole away from Shane Wenzloff, and that was definitely a good lap, but it wasn't enough for the pole. Let's see where this will place him. I believe he is... Oh, it's really close between him and Brian Ferris. I think he is 3rd fastest, though, so Richard Herman, 3rd on the charts, and there's only 1 driver left to qualify. And that 1 driver left is none other than current points leader and defending winner, Trivia May for Team Penske. This car has also been fast in the York Legend Series, qualifying sessions, and she's also been fast in pretty much every series qualifying session as well. So we'll see if Trivia May can maybe take the pole, get those 5 bonus points, because you do get 5 bonus points in the York Legend Series for getting the pole. You get 2 for qualifying 2nd and 1 for qualifying 3rd. And she will get 1 for qualifying 3rd, I believe. But she will not get the pole away from Shane Wenzloff. And he will start on the pole here at Omaha. So here is your starting lineup for the LTPSS race number 4 at Omaha. So row 1 will be Shane Wensloff and Caleb Burrows. Row 2, Trivia May and Richard Herman. Row 3, Brian Ferris and James Johnson. Row 4, Brendan Creason and Caleb Campbell. Row 5, Hope Wilmington and Scarlett Rose. Row 6, Jacob Hersner and LJ Toledo. Row 7 will be Brady Wilmington and Zachary DeLello. Row 8, Trey Wright and Game Player 88. Row 9, Flammable Camaro and Grant Hoover. And in row 10 is Jeff Toledo and Jake Hoover. Row 11 is James Edwards and Riley Neiman. Row 12 is Cookie and Ray Alton. And rounding out the last row is Dee Pepper and Sam Lester. So that's the end of the LTPSS qualifying session. And next, we'll get into your Omaha 500 starters. And we will be going through the open entries first. Thank you guys for watching. This is Left Turn Productions, signing out.